My name is Augustus Muli and I'm the party leader of National Liberal Party. Leo niko hapa na viongozi wa vyama vingi tofauti, but we are here with one objective. Today we have filed a petition in Parliament, and this petition seeks to amend Section 25 of the Political Parties Act 2011, which governs the distribution of monies from the political parties fund. Constitution yetu ni nzuri sana, na ni vibaya tunapoona wabunge ama watu wengine wakiwa na nia mbaya wanakuja wanabadilisha katiba yetu na kufanya maisha ya wananchi yawe magumu. This section affects the political parties in this country, the 91 registered political parties. Katiba katika section 21 inasema bunge inafaa kuregulate hizi vyama zote. All these political parties are supposed to be funded. Article 91 of the Constitution says Parliament shall enact legislation for the funding and regulation of political parties. Na inasema vyama vyote, all political parties that are registered, na inapeana mkataba, inapeana how it happens. Zile vyama ambazo zina take part in an election lazima ziwe funded. Lakini hapo katikati ukaingia wakati Parliament ikabadilisha, ikasema vyama hizi zitapata pesa kiasi hiki na vyama hizi hazitapata pesa. Now we are in a democracy. We are changing. We are at a critical time in this country where democracy must reign. Sasa, as we are talking, out of 91 registered parties, only 47 parties are funded. 54 parties ambazo ziko licensed, ziko na maofisi, ziko fully compliant, they get 0. Na katika hizo 47 parties that are funded, only 3 are really getting the money to help them run their work as political parties. A party gets 600 million, while another party gets 20,000 in a whole year. And we are expected to be all fully compliant. We are all expected to follow certain criteria. Kila chama, kila registered party lazima iwe na maofisi in half of the counties. It must maintain a certain minimum number. And one party is given 600 million, another party is given 0 and expected to perform the same. Now, if we talk about democracy in this country, where is democracy? So our call today, as we launch this petition in Parliament, our call today is to the President of this country, who is the main chief custodian of our Constitution. Please support democracy in this country. Tumeongea na wabunge kadhaa, and many of them see our reasoning. All the members of Parliament belong to us. They belong to political parties, and many of them are in these parties that are getting minimal funding from the government. So today we have started this petition. We have started this journey. And we want Parliament to support political parties. The whole country is in a state of change now. As we approach 2027, please let's have a fair playground where each political party that is fully registered is given a fair chance to compete. There are a lot of young people in this country who are registering as voters, who are registering in political parties. If the government does not support them, how can the government purport to support democracy? And in the beginning, when the Constitution was promulgated, it clearly stated how funding for political parties is supposed to be. But that has been thrown under the bus. Greed has come in, and some political parties want to take all the money. Na wajinacha vyama vingine ambao wanaziita ati vyama vidogo. There's no small party, there's no briefcase party. Every party that is fully registered, fully compliant, must be fully recognized by the government and funded by taxpayers' money. Thank you.
There was a time in this country when we only had one political party. Kwa wale tulikuwepo kitambo, kulikuwa wakati tulikuwa na chama kimoja, kilikuwa kikiitwa Baba na Mama. Vyama vile vingine vyote vilifagiliwa mbali. Na Baba na Mama ndio ilikuwa inaleta kuanzia kansela mpaka rais. Naona njia moja ya kuua vyama Kenya ni kuvinyima pesa. One of the best ways to kill a political party is to starve it of resources. Deliberately. Kwa sababu unafaa kuwa na ofisi 24 Kenya nzima. Unafaa kuenda utafute members 1000 katika county 24 za Kenya. Unafaa kulipa wafanyikazi na unafaa kuweka mikakati ya uchaguzi. Na haupewi hela hata shilingi moja na serikali. Na katiba inasema unafaa kupewa pesa na serikali. Na mkipewa pesa, chama kimoja viwili vinachukua yote nusu. Kama sasa mwaka huu pamepeana shilingi bilioni 1.4. Milioni 700 imeenda na wazee wawili. Zile zingine zimegawiwa the rest of the political parties ambazo ni kama 45. Na katikati hizo 45 kuna zingine zinapata shilingi 20,000 ama 1,100 to operate on for the whole year. That is unacceptable. It cannot happen. Kuna vyama 54 ambazo hazipati hata ndururu hawapati. Hivi vyama vinafaa kuwa na maofisi, kuwa na wafanyikazi, na tunaposongea 2027 zinafaa kujitayarisha kwa uchaguzi. Wakenya tusipoangalia, vyama vitafutiliwa mbali, mtabaki na kimoja, tutarudi enzi za baba na mama. Ambapo chama kimoja kilikuwa kinasema utakula nini, utalala wapi na utaoa nani. Na hiyo kuwa nani usifikiri ni mchezo. Watu walikuwa wanapatiwa talaka kwenye ofisi za KANU kitambo. Nani akumbuki hiyo? Tusirudi hapo ndugu zanguni. Asanteni. Jina langu ni Julius Wambua na mimi ni mwenyekiti wa kitaifa wa chama cha Party of Independent Candidates of Kenya, PIC. Thank you.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Alfaya Gufana nikiwa mwenyekiti wa kitaifa wa National Agenda Party of Kenya. I'll summarize in English and then say 2 words in Kiswahili. What we are saying, according to the 2010 Constitution, Kenya is a multi-party democracy. And we also recognize that everything rises or falls with leadership. Political parties play many roles. Apart from recruiting people into leadership or governance, we also field people into positions where they can go and representation. We also are supposed to deal with issues of policy formulation and alternative policy formulation. That means that we need to have resources that can enable us to be strong institutions that can actually do research and work out to bring out solutions to the problems that we face as Kenya and even at a global level. When we stifle political parties, when we starve political parties by legislation that even says, for me as a founder and chairman of a party, I cannot contribute more than 5% of the revenues of the political party. We would like you as the media to be able to do political, civic education to make people to understand the so-called weak parties or the so-called small parties are not your enemies. Because most of the so-called small parties are the ones who come out talking about issues. The other bigger so-called bigger parties are actually they are the ones who balkanize this country along ethnicity. What we are saying, we as the so-called small parties, we may seem not to have failed. But our failure is because for us to compete with the so-called big parties, we need resources. And this is not for the small parties alone. Because if we build a strong democracy, it will be for the benefit of the entire nation. So the first thing we are saying is, in the 2010 Constitution, Kenya is a multi-party democracy. Number 2, the framers of the Constitution stated that the political parties should receive 0.03% of the national revenues. We are not getting that. If that was given, that formula was applied, political parties would be getting about 8 billion. Currently, we are getting only 1.4%. The courts have even pronounced themselves that this is not the right thing to do. The government and the Minister of Finance should be able to allocate sufficient resources to political parties. We are saying, in addition to all this, that as long as we do not allow political parties to become strong institutions, as a country, we shall end up having leaders who are not serving the nation. Yeah, so we are saying this in Kiswahili. Tunasema kwamba vyama ni vyombo vya kupeana mwongozo, na tusipoipatia nafasi, tusipovijenga, tutakuwa na udhaifu ambapo kwamba ni vyama vichache ambavyo vitakuwa vinapeleka sera ambayo pengine haivutii vyama vyote kuwa na nafasi sawa. Yeah, kwa hayo nashukuru sana. If I was able to just talk about whether we are overrepresented. One of the biggest, we are in a continent called Africa, and in Africa, we know we have suffered greatly from neocolonialism. We have slavery, and now we have also suffered from, as I said, about colonialism. And in a sense, many of our people have been alienated from good governance. We believe that having many political parties is a symptom of the fact that people feel that when people are in power, they don't give out equal distribution of resources. So that's why we are saying that as new crop of leaders, as new crop of politicians in this country, we are agitating for a level playing field. Because as long as we continue to perpetuate the kind of system where we have only a few people who have been in governments, people who have come from certain communities or certain regions, are the ones who are forming political parties, we end up in a scenario whereby the majority of the people are still alienated in terms of providing good governance. And in democracy, the more competition, the better. The more ideas, the better. It is not true that when you have few political parties, then you have a better governance system. If it was true, during the Baba na Mama time, when we had only one single party system, then we would have seen a scenario whereby at least at the end of the day, the country was enjoying democracy. But we know, those of us who are old enough, we know that the Nyayo chambers were full of people who were being held by the government for speaking out the truth and for fighting for democracy.